What am I gonna do next? You know what they say, fail to plan, plan to fail. So, just like everybody else, at least for those of us that enjoy burying ourselves in gold and silver content every chance we get on YouTube, have probably stumbled across different types of investment strategies regarding when to enter and when to exit. The reason why I bring this up is because most recently I heard a comment on a gold and silver YouTube channel that I find really interesting. Apparently, a person can have too much gold and silver. And I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised to hear that coming from a precious metals YouTube channel. What do you think about this? Do you agree with that idea? And yeah, I've heard the typical percentage allocation should be anywhere between 5 to 10% physical bullion. This is a great segue from my most recent video upload, and I'll tell you why. In that video, I said, do you believe the more of something is always a good thing? If you haven't seen it yet, you should go check it out. It's another short video. I'll tell you what, I still believe in that concept. However, I think most of us would agree that having a nice bankroll wouldn't hurt. What I mean by that in comparison to precious metals, at what point does a person have too much, and why is it that we don't say the same thing for fiat currency, especially for us gold and silver bugs? You could ask almost any true investor that converts their fiat into precious metals what's their opinion, and they will tell you they would not save or store their value in cash fiat. So where does this narrative come from? And why is it okay to sit on a mountain of cash rather than a mountain of gold and silver? You see where I'm going with this? Why does there have to be this specific bullion allocation? What if a person just doesn't trust crypto, stocks, fiat, or whatever that may be for them? And before you start pitching all these pros and cons in the comment section about the differences between the two, remember, my question is specifically regarding why is it more acceptable to stack an unlimited amount of cash rather than gold or silver? And before someone states the obvious, let's assume we've already identified weight as an issue. What I'm looking for is a more fair and impartial perspective, but feel free to express your thoughts down below. Alright, since we're on the topic of investment strategies, I guess this would be a great opportunity to share with everyone my basic approach on how I get after stacking more bullion and my experiences up to this point thus far. When I first started, I'll be frank, I didn't know what I was doing, and just like everyone else that is interested but doesn't know where to begin, starts on YouTube. At least that's my assumption. However, what I did know, I didn't want to remain solely in fiat currency, especially after a buddy of mine dropped some serious knowledge on me and showed me the ropes. After I convinced myself to stop being afraid and take the plunge to commit to another form of money, I essentially would buy whatever I could afford and get my hands on that I thought was cool and I liked the most. At first, everything was fine and dandy, but what I found myself doing was buying a bit too much, a bit too fast, all because I thought the prices of gold and silver were gonna shoot to the moon and I was gonna miss out. Well, guess what? None of that mattered because it never shot to the moon, and I felt like I was going down a rabbit hole that never ended because of the type of content I was consuming myself with. It even got to the point where the wifey started to get annoyed with me. I'm sure you can imagine how that went, and I don't blame her. So I started to unsubscribe to all the silver pumpers, and that obviously goes without saying, like most, I started stacking silver first. Now before you start to make your assumptions about my view on silver, keep in mind, I'm still showing you silver on my YouTube channel, so that should tell you something. When I first started converting over to gold and silver, the premiums were extremely reasonable compared to today. At first, when the premiums were skyrocketing, it didn't quite bother me too much, because I understood the value of precious metals. But after a while, when you realize those premiums aren't budging, all while premiums are increasing, you sometimes have to take a step back and reassess your investment strategy, which is what I did. At this point, I started to take a closer look at gold, simply because the premiums were significantly more desirable in relationship to silver. I hate to say it this way, but it's the best way I can explain it in my own perspective. I felt like I was throwing away money in the premium for silver rather than gold, and remember, I love silver. but I also love getting my bang for my buck. I remember at one point, the premium for Silver Eagles were priced at $14 an ounce. And whenever I would buy silver, I was buying at the tube. That was just my preference and how I got after stacking. I was spending up to $280 in premium for a tube of Silver Eagles, and if you don't know, there's 20 Eagles in one tube. So that means you also have to consider the spot price for silver as well. At that time, spot wasn't bad, but it was floating anywhere between $26 and $29 an ounce. So in total, I was spending approximately $860 a tube. I didn't want to go cold turkey and just completely stop stacking because I know what gold and silver have to offer an investor. I also haven't completely strayed away from silver either. I still pick up a couple ounces here and there, at least until the premiums cool down a little bit more than they have. And that's not to say they haven't, because I've noticed the premiums are starting to cool off. I just took a look on the APMEX website and they have American Silver Eagles listed for $9 over spot, which is better than before. Today, I stack gold much more than silver. And yes, I'm aware of the dramatic price drop in gold this week, but it doesn't faze me because it bounced back fairly well and I know what gold has to offer. Alright, back to the main subject. The premium is much cheaper, and if you haven't already noticed, I'm a Buffalo kind of guy. Normally, I'll do my best to pick up a 1 ounce gold Buffalo locally once a month to add to my stack. The premiums in my local coin shops are usually pretty reasonable, and typically, I can pick up a gold Buffalo at a 7% premium, which essentially equates to $140 over spot. I've been able to cut down my cost by 50% just in premium alone, and this allows me the opportunity to save a little bit more cash for more gold and silver or whatever else I may need it for. I know not everyone can afford to buy a 1 ounce gold coin at a time, but if you're smart about it and patient, keyword patient, which I believe is the most important part about stacking, you can do it too. Just remember, there are so many different methods regarding how you decide to make your purchases and what works best for you. Not everyone is in the same boat. It's not fair to assume what works for you and I will work for someone else. Okay, that pretty much sums it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm really curious about everyone's thoughts. If you have a moment, leave a comment down below. Your time is greatly appreciated, and remember, this isn't financial advice. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Until next time, have a good day, be safe, and like I always say, let's keep stacking.